Um, Chair Rossi, I think we'll just give Mr. Greco a few more minutes and then begin.
Yes, Michelle.
Joe Greco, yeah.
Hello, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Galazzi. How are you?
Fine. Happy New Year to everybody.
Easy, sir.
Jonathan, it's 2 o'clock, so Mr. Rossi, I think maybe we should get started.
Okay, Michelle. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Committee Adjusted meeting on the 26th of January of 2022. May I introduce the committee members? Past chair on the line is Arthur Galazzi. We have Mr. Wayne Greco and Miss Wayne and Mrs. Melinda McGregor.
Mr. Chair, I can confirm that a quorum is present, although we are missing at this point member Joe Greco. Mr. Chair, I'd ask for a motion for the minutes of the December 8th meeting.
I will move approval of minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Mr. Greco. All in favor? Thank you, carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. I can confirm that notice was given under the Planning Act for the applications that are to be heard by the committee today.
Thank you. And can I make one comment? Sorry.
Yes.
For all those people that are on the line, once you've completed your application on Zoom, you do not have to stay for the entire Zoom call. Sorry.
Okay, and I note that there's been no request to withdraw or defer applications. So seeing none, we'll move right to our first application. And that is an application A122. It's an application from Michelle McLeave Kennedy, who is the owner of 235 Eastern Avenue. Michelle, are you on the line? Okay, I don't think so. I know she was intending, but 235 Eastern Avenue. It is located on the easterly side of Eastern Avenue between Gibbs Street and Melville Road. It is designated residential in the official plan and is zoned R2 single unit residential. Relief is requested from the provisions of bylaw 2005-150 as amended to legitimize the height of a fence in the front yard, specifically section 7.2, which requires a maximum height of fence in front yard to be 0.9 meters or 36 inches. The applicant is seeking to increase the fence height in the front yard to 1.5 meters or 5 feet for the existing fence only. Mr. Chair, I'd tell you that Building, Planning, Engineering, Legal, Fire Services, Public Works, and the Conservation Authority had no objections to the request. Building Division advised that the maximum fence height of the fence within the 4.5 meter sightline setback for driveways cannot exceed 0.75 meters or 29.5 feet 5 inches, as required under section 7.3.2 and 7.3.2.1 of zoning bylaw 2005-150. Planning staff advised that the existing fence along the side yard will not pose any visual impact onto the streetscape. Engineering staff had no objection, conditional upon the 1.5 meter high fence will not be in the sightline triangle. Considerations are the request does not include an increase in height within the sightline triangle. There are no objections to the request. However, both building staff and engineering staff caution the applicant with regard to the sightline triangle. Recommendation is to make approval conditional upon maintaining the maximum height provisions for a fence within the 4.5 meter sightline triangle for driveways as set out in section 7.3.1 and 7.3.2 of the zoning bylaw 2005-150. And those are my submissions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Michelle. I've seen the applicant's not online and there's nobody opposing the
I
application.
am
I
online.
see.
Oh, sorry,
Someone,
there we go.
She just joined in, and
Okay,
if I could just summarize, Michelle?
Yes.
I've just summarized for the committee the request that you're asking. And the suggestion to the committee is that any approval be made conditional upon maintaining the sightline triangle as required under the zoning bylaw. The committee is aware that the fence does not include, the fence height that you're requesting does not include the sightline triangle. And those were my submissions. Do you have anything to add?
No, thank you. I understand.
okay. Any questions or considerations by committee members? Mr. Greco, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I'm looking at the illustration, the photograph that's been provided. I'm just, for my own clarity. So part of the fence was taken down because of the sightline triangle. So what remains is the frame. It's my understanding then the fence at the variance ends at the point where the fence boards are. Am I clear on that?
That's correct. If you see on your
Sketch?
illustrations included with your application, you'll see the illustration that has everything marked in red.
Mhm.
Where we're looking at is that rectangle in red.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other further questions from committee members? Okay, we have a motion to approve the application. Wayne Greco, can I have a
Yes.
seconder, please? With the considerations and the recommendations, please. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Melinda. All in favor with the recommendations?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Carried.
Michelle, your application has been approved with that condition.
Okay, thank you. Do I need to do anything else then?
Not at this point. There's an appeal period. And after that appeal period, you can get your permit. You'll get a written decision well, you won't get I'll be sending you an emailed formal decision within the next few days.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So I can go off the call now?
Yes,
Correct.
you can.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, moving on to the next matter on our agenda, and that would be application A222, an application from Ahmed Walker at 774 Diamond Street. This is a twofold application, both a minor variance and a consent. And we'll deal with the minor variance first because it needs to be heard whether the consent is approved or not. The consent is not relying on the minor variance in this case. Ahmed Walker and Mr. Urso is on the line as representative for Mr. Walker.
Thank you.
Ahmed Walker is the owner of 774 Diamond Street. It is located on the north side of Diamond Street between Gooley Avenue and Letcher Street. It is designated residential in the official plan and is zoned R3 low density residential. The applicant is seeking relief from the provisions of bylaw 2005-150 as amended to legitimize the height of a fence. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
To legitimize the front yard setback for the semi-units. And you note by the diagrams that it's really just that one portion of the common wall area that contravenes the zoning bylaw. Section 9.7.2 requires a front yard setback of 7.5 meters, and he seeks to reduce the front yard to 7.4 meters for the existing semi-detached units. Notice of public hearing was sent by mail to neighboring properties, by posting a sign on site, and by posting on the city website. Building, planning, engineering, legal, fire services, public works, the Conservation Authority, and Bell Canada right-of-way had no objections. Planning staff supports this application, which represents small-scale intensification within the urban area of the city. Engineering staff had no objection, advising that a second sanitary lateral was installed this past summer. And there are no objections to the request. Mr. Mark Brown is in attendance too. He may wish to speak, Mr. Chair, and you may wish to invite any comment. And Dave Urso, as I said, is here representing the applicant. And those are my my comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Michelle. Mr. Urso, do you have any comments or would you like to, with respect to the application?
No, at this juncture, no. Michelle described the events
Summarized.
succinctly. Subject to what Mr. Brown's comments are, I may comment.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown,
Thank you.
do you have any? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd love to support, I want to support this application because my young son is looking to own a home, and by allowing this consent, it gives him the opportunity to own one of these two homes rather than having to purchase two units as a semi-detached single thing and become a landlord. So that's the basis I want to provide my support.
Thank you, sir.
And just to reiterate what Michelle said before, the intent is to create two freehold parcels with semi-detached unit on each, and that was the intent of the developer from the get-go. Unfortunately, we have to go through the planning process to sever the property to create the two freehold interests, and here we are.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Urso and Mr. Brown. Any comments or questions from committee members for either?
No, we're just entertaining the variance at this point.
Okay,
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
okay. Committee members? How do we vote?
I'll move.
First by Melinda, seconded
Yeah.
by Wayne. All in favor? Wayne, Art,
Aye.
Thank
carried.
you. We move to the consent on this application, and has sort of been commented. It's simply the consent for this parcel is to sever one unit from the other so that each can be independently owned. The property is being divided in half. There are no comments other than what was raised into the minor variance. Customary conditions that are attached to approvals of applications of this nature are a transfer deed of land, reference plan, PIN abstract, certificate application fee, cash in lieu of parklands, discharge or partial discharge of mortgages, lot grading and drainage plans, and payment of municipal taxes. And those are my submissions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Sean. I'm going to assume no further comments from Mr. Brown or Mr. Urso. Committee members, any questions? Can I get a motion to approve? Committee members,
I'll make the motion.
first, seconded by
Melinda seconded.
Melissa.
Yeah,
seconded.
sorry, I second.
That's okay, no, just to make sure. And Art,
Aye.
okay, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Moving-
gentlemen.
Moving on to.
Thank you
sorry.
all. See you later on this year sometime.
Okay. Moving on to the next matter on our agenda, application A322. It's an application from Sergio and Maxine Cavalier, owners of 16 Bridle Path Court. The subject property is located on the north side of Bridle Path Court, east off Foxborough Trail. It is designated residential in the official plan and is zoned R2 single unit residential. Relief is requested from the provisions of bylaw 2005-150 as amended to facilitate the construction of a 1,405 square foot rear addition by reducing a portion of the rear yard setback, specifically section 8.5.2 of zoning bylaw 2005-150 requires a rear yard of 10 meters. The applicant proposes to reduce the rear yard setback to 7 meters for the proposed addition only. Public notice again was sent out by mail to the neighboring property owners by posting a sign on site and posting on the city website. Planning, engineering, legal, fire services, public works, and the Conservation Authority had no objections. Engineering staff noted that there is a municipal storm sewer and a storm sewer easement along the west property line adjacent to the proposed addition. Care should be taken during construction to avoid interference with the storm sewer. Conservation Authority advised that any development on the property will require a permit from the Conservation Authority. And those are my submissions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
There
Michelle.
have been no additional conditions attached to any reports.
Okay. Is there anyone representing the applicant online today?
Sorry,
Michelle, I
Mr.
don't,
I didn't hear the motion. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
no, I was just asking if there's anyone online representing the applicant
No,
today.
there isn't.
Okay.
I
Okay,
will
any
move
questions?
acceptance, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I was just gonna ask, okay, I was gonna ask, there's no questions from committee members? No,
I will move acceptance.
thank you. Seconded by? Mr. Greco, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carried.
Thank you. Moving now to tab 5 on your agenda, which is an application from B322, an application from Dave Ruscio and Lydia Dosborough. They're the owners of 21 Garden Avenue. It is located on the south side of Garden Avenue, east off Gravel Street. It is designated residential in the official plan and is zoned R3 low density residential with a special provision. The applicants are seeking the committee's consent to sever and convey the property into 2 parcels, each being 8.80 meters by 40.45 meters and being approximately 350 square meters in size. The intent of the application is to provide autonomous title to each of the existing semi-detached units currently under construction. Again, notice of public hearing was issued by personal mail, posting it on the city website and posting a sign on site. Building, planning, engineering, legal, fire services, public works, Sault Ste. Marie Conservation Authority and Bell Canada right-of-way had no objections. Planning staff supports this application, which represents small-scale intensification within the urban area of the city. Considerations, there are no objections to the request. The proposed conveyance satisfies official plan policies and the zoning bylaw. Customary conditions attached to the approval of applications of this nature are transfer deed of land, reference plan, PIN abstract, certificate application fee, cash in lieu of parkland, discharge or partial discharge of mortgage, and payment of municipal taxes. And those are my submissions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Michelle. Seeing that there's no one on for the applicant, committee members, any questions?
I will move acceptance, Mr. Chairman.
No questions. I will, okay, moved by Art, seconded by? Thank you, Melinda or Wayne?
Don't.
I'll go with Melinda first. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, and our last matter on the agenda today is an application, a B422, and the property owner is Giulio Grassi. The subject property is 377 Moss Road. Steve Shoemaker is in attendance as a representative for the applicant. The subject property is a through lot with frontages on Moss Road and Gooley Avenue and is approximately 25.4 hectares or 63 acres in size. It is designated rural area in the official plan and is zoned RA rural area. I just note, Mr. Chair, that there are two persons in attendance that may wish to speak or simply be part of the process and understanding of what's taking place in this application. And that would be Mr. and Mrs. Albert.
Okay, thank you.
The applicant is seeking the committee's consent to convey one additional irregular shaped lot fronting on Moss Road, having approximately 61 meters of frontage on Moss Road with an approximate area of 3.3 hectares. The retained vacant parcel will maintain frontage on Gooley Avenue and be approximately 20.3 hectares in size. Notice of public hearing was issued by personal mail, posting on the city website, and posting a sign on site. Building, planning, engineering, legal, fire, public works, Sault Ste. Marie Region Conservation Authority, and Bell Canada right-of-way had no objections. Engineering advised that there is no sanitary servicing in this area. Any septic system design shall be to the satisfaction of Algoma Public Health. The Conservation Authority staff advised that any development on either the retained or severed portions of the property will require a site plan review and may require a permit from the Conservation Authority. There are no objections to the request. The proposed conveyance satisfies official plan policies and the zoning bylaw. Customary conditions attached to approval of applications of this nature are transfer deed of land, reference plan, a PIN abstract, certificate application fee, Algoma Public Health approval, cash in lieu of parkland, discharge or partial discharge of charge or mortgage, lot grading and drainage plan, and possible drainage agreement, and payment of municipal taxes. And those are my submissions, Mr. Chair. And Mr.
Thank you, Michelle.
Shoemaker again is in
Yeah.
it.
I see. Yep. Mr. Shoemaker, do you have anything you'd like to add to what Michelle has read into the record?
Good afternoon, committee. I don't have much to add. Michelle has covered off all of the preliminary issues and the facts. My client, Mr. Grossi, is looking to obtain this severance on the parcel that fronts onto Moss Road. That's the parcel that he'd be transferring in the future. This has nothing to do with the retained lands or anything that would happen on the future in the retained lands, which would all have to go through their own processes. It relates only to the Moss Road parcel in question.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. The Alberts, Brian and Michelle, do you have any questions, concerns?
Yes, I'm just wondering if there's any plan in the near future for it to be developed for multiple residences, or is this a single residence, or is there a plan at all at this point?
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the question, and happy to respond. Through the committee, of course. Yes, the plan would be for the parcel that fronts onto Moss Road to serve as a single family dwelling in the future. I don't know how close that is to being done. It's probably a ways away, given that construction costs are high and inflation is high and the supply chain is tight. So it wouldn't be any time in the very near future, as we still have to carry out this severance. I don't believe it's going to be in 2022, put it that way. But it would be a single family residence. I suppose possibly in 2022, but first we have to get through with the application.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions, concerns by committee members?
I will move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion to approve by Art. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second, Anthony.
Thank you, Wayne. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Carried.
Great, thank you very much. And those are all my matters, if I may be excused.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, that concludes the matters before the committee today.
Thank you, Michelle.
I just note that the next hearing is scheduled for February 23rd.
Okay.
And I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
I want to say God bless to all our committee members.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Art.
Art.
Thanks, Art.
You're welcome. Watch the virus.
Thank you.
I'll try not to see it at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.